Okay, so happy week number 4. I'm really excited that all of you are still showing up and being here and committing to this. So tonight we're going to talk about probably one of the biggest things, and it's the most important, but it's also the hardest, and it's going to be inviting. So the part of inviting that I'm going to discuss is embedding the inviting in your post, either on social media in general. That's going to be Instagram and Facebook is what I'm going to talk about the most. But most of the time, you use the same post simultaneously through both. So it's kind of just the embedding in both. So there is a book. I don't know if y'all have actually read it. Either you have heard trainings on it or you've read it, and it's called The Jab, Jab, Right Hook. So most of the time when you invite to somebody in a private message, they'll either ghost you or they will just say no thanks or no, or I don't want it. And so when they ghost, you normally follow up, or if they say no, not right now, or no, thank you, then you say, okay, well, you're welcome. Do you mind me asking what part of this journey doesn't feel like a good fit for you right now? So to avoid some of that awkwardness of trying to like reel them in and not lose them, you can actually do that through some of your posts. So for example, when we did that 5 week of share your story, or the 5 day share your story, so you shared everything about your journey in that 1 week. So depending on how you schedule your month, and that's going to be in a later week, so I'm not going to go into that detail, but depending on how you schedule your week depends on how, like, what you're actually posting about that week. So it was an exercise for you, but that's not something you want to do on a weekly basis. So for example, since it's the end of the month and you're trying to get challengers to actually start for the beginning of September for a challenge group. So your post would have something to be around your nutrition, around the accountability groups, around fitness, things like that. But you don't want to just do only, hey, join all the benefits necessarily. How to embed into your post, you can actually invite through your post and actually invite to the no's through your post as well. So what do I mean by invite to the no's through your post? So what that means is to think about the reasons why you said no over and over and over before you started. So some of my reasons are going to be time. I was too busy. I didn't have the time to add something else to my busy schedule. I financially couldn't afford it back then. That was something, that was a big deal to me. I just really wasn't in the mindset. I had kind of got in a slump, in a hole, kind of like a mini depression, and I just didn't care, honestly, was kind of where my mindset was. So in your post, if you actually speak to those things, then you're actually taking away their no before they give it to you. So in your post, and it's all about how you word it, because you want it to be where you're talking to them without actually saying, okay, you, that person that can't financially afford it, this is how you afford it. Don't drink Starbucks every day and have a shake instead. No, that's probably not going to be the most gracious way to actually say, go past that no through your post. A way that you could possibly say it was, oh my gosh, girl, I used to be the mom who would fly through Starbucks every morning after I dropped off the kids. I would order XYZ, and I didn't realize that actually had this many things wrong with it. And the calorie count, the artificial sweeteners, all these things. And tell about how, did you still have to have that morning nap with your younger child, or did you crash right after lunch, even though you still had that Starbucks, and how you're not crashing, because now that you have Shakeology or you have your superfood shake, you don't have those afternoon naps. You aren't crashing in the, after lunch. So that would be a way to actually go against a financial post and an energy post, not, feeling bad and not, needing more nutrition. So it's all about the way that you say it, and it's all about the way that you actually say it, as well as you talk to yourself. So if you're trying to word your post super professional, super grammatically correct, if those aren't the words that you use on a daily basis, almost everything, and it took my MacBook about 2 months to realize, y'all, YAL is a word, and that is something that I will use on a daily basis being in Texas. But if use the words that you normally use to counteract why someone would say no and why your tribe would say no right away. So what you can do is you can start on like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday and have really great posts in either early morning or in the evenings whenever someone is going to see them. Your tribe is going to see them the most. And then you can, on that Thursday and Friday going into the weekend, where you can actually sit and invite, private message, all those things. Then at that point, you've already said, okay, well, you can afford it because you're not going to have Starbucks anymore. You're going to take that money and use it for Shakeology. You do have the time because we help you convert into a morning person, and then the flexibility of being able to do it at home. How much more energy and how much better of a mother you can be. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, you have those posts. So you've already answered all of those objections right off the bat before you even invite them. So instead of inviting them, they're going to be like, well, give me some more information. I'm not sure yet. I'm kind of there. I'm hooked, but I haven't quite said a yes yet. So then at that point, you're not having to ask them again, do you mind if I ask why you told me no? Or completely follow up to the ghost 7 times, or however many times it is, or keep putting them on the 30-day, 60-day follow-up, however you do it. To avoid that, putting the invite in your post is the best way to do it. Another way to do an invite post is to just come out and invite. But you want to make sure on those posts, I've found personally it does make it better if you invite to a specific thing. So I'm learning that coaches coach a little bit differently in their accountability groups, boot camps, and challenge groups, whatever you want to call them. They all are very similar in what goes on in those groups. But if you are actually inviting to something similar to how Brigitte has done for the Lift 4, she is not inviting somebody to come in, do BOD, and we'll just figure it out together and everybody's doing different things. Her last 2 big ones that were really successful have been specifically to Lift 4. So if you have a specific program that is launching, or a specific program that was your favorite in the past that you think would be great for new moms, whatever your target market is at this specific season, then that would be a great way to invite to that particular program. And then you can talk about in your post or show a transformation of when you had great results on that specific program. So that's a way to invite without having to, and then within that post, you can actually tell how you were able to make it work, what the benefits you saw from it, and that and being honest in your post really make you really relatable. So, for example, if you're doing 21-day Fix Again or a Shaun T program or something that you had a really great result from that's not necessarily maybe the newest launching, then say, okay, I had great results here. This was my transformation picture. This is what was going on. But these are the things that have happened to kind of throw me off course, because this is a journey. It's not a 21-day or a 60-day thing. It's a journey. So on this journey, let's come back together. Let's get each other and hold each other accountable and do this together, because I have seen the results when I do XYZ, but life kicked me in the rear like it might be kicking you in the rear. So let's come together and do the program again. So those would be ways to help you, because you're taking away their no's again before they give you the no in the private message, and then you're jab, and then give them the right hook, the actual invite to whatever it is after you've done the posts that tell them. Because if you invite in every post, then you're not really being able to relate to those people as well. And then when you're sending private messages, a lot of times, if it's not over the phone, it can seem a little, everyone, if you've been on Instagram very long, you've kind of gotten those robot-y type messages. You probably know what I'm talking about. So going back and forth and trying to really convince someone of your story, where none of your Facebook wall or your Instagram wall or your Insta stories or Facebook stories share any of that same information that you're trying to convince people of, is really hard, and it's going to be less likely for them to connect to you on a relationship level. So just think of that when you post, and try to post at least once daily, or at least every other day, some sort of where you're publicly letting them know how you overcame that objection, without saying, okay, this is how I did XYZ. No, be a storyteller, because in this you are telling your story and your posts have to tell that as well. So I hope that helps you. And then and that is one of my favorite parts about this business, is getting to share stories and share it through different things in my post. And but it wasn't something that I was really good at the very beginning. It was something that I really had to dig deep and really think about my story and really think about the parts that I heard a sermon over the weekend. Stephen Furtick, I don't know if y'all have ever heard of him. He's completely amazing, but the sermon was over significance. And so his big deal, one of his, like, he got to write a book, and he got to say, it was over, he got to actually do the audio version. So the person who was helping him record this was over a big recording company and a publisher, when he had helped all these other people. So he said, well, who was the person that, you can remember the most, had the most, meaning on you or impact on you, or the weirdest type thing? And it was actually President Bill Clinton. And he said, they got to the part where his story was, or his book was, over like 700 different pages. And so there was so many parts to his story, they had to figure out what was the most important to be able to tell in the audio version of this book. But they also, to be able to tell the story effectively and to be able to really connect to people, they had to make sure they didn't leave out the most significant parts. So when they got to the Monica Lewinsky part, literally the guy, President Clinton, said, people are tired of hearing that. Is that really very significant? Yes, that is a huge part of your story, to tell you to show that just because you're the president of the United States doesn't mean that you're never going to fail. It doesn't mean that you're perfect, and it doesn't mean that you're not going to have upsets or things that draw you back. So in your story, remember those things. Even if you've told your story about the anxiety that you had, or the clean eating issues, or your weight that you've lost, or how you felt before, or when you fell off the wagon after 2 years and now you're getting back on the wagon, whatever it is, all of those things don't stop being significant. And if you're consistently bringing people in, you're going to have to consistently tell those parts of your story over and over. And that's going to be the best way to help invite and really connect to get those yeses. So anyways.
Hi. Okay, I do not have a cool light, so I look like I'm like dark and creepy in the sweatshirt. But I want to go get that light, because that is a great tip. Yeah, so we're talking about inviting tonight, and there's, like, when we got on our planning call, we were like, oh my gosh, there's so many parts of inviting. How are we going to cover it all and give the most value to you guys? So we talked about how there's 3 ways to invite. What Marley said was embedding it in your post, like the very casual, almost like they think that they're going to get an invite in your post, but then you don't say join me. So kind of like the tease of like the sweaty selfie of, oh my gosh, I used to not get up early, and now I get up early and I freaking love it. And it's like almost like a couple years ago, everybody would be like, don't you want to do it with me? And you're just like, look at me getting up early, but you're telling your story. And those daily little things of the reminders as they follow you, exactly what Marley said, the jab. It's a book, Brenna, what's his name? Gary, I just never say his last name. It's like Gary, it's like a V.
Vaynerchuk.
And he talks about how, like, in boxing, how you're like, you don't like just throw your hardest punch every single time. You jab, and then you right hook, and then you get him. So if all week, just like we did with the social media, and that's why I went live that week and was like, you've been jabbing all these people all week. You've been jabbing them. You've been like, oh, this is how I crush your time objection. This is how I crush your money objection. This is how I crush your thing. I have not said join me yet, but bam, join me. And Brenna is going to talk about that part. I'm going to talk to you about the behind the scenes, because to me, social media, it is not a vital behavior, and eventually they're just going to have to make it one. But I don't think that they can, because some people build it on a blog and some people build stuff in person because they're superheroes. But I believe that social media and the behind the scenes inviting are equally as important. You cannot run a business with one or without the other. So if you are somebody who is really great at posting but is not inviting in the background, please know that the times that I say anything actually in the realm of, do you want to join a challenge group, join my team, do you want information, I get the least amount of traction on those posts. And it's totally normal. People are nervous to say, yes, give me more information. But it's super, super vital that you do it. And also, if you're inviting behind the scenes, but are not posting your journey and not posting what Marley just talked about, and are not sharing the little its and bits and pieces of how you're making health and fitness a priority, not that you're perfect and that you're crushing every single day of 80-day obsession and you could just eat kale, from morning to night, and that's fine. No, just that you're on your journey and that you're sharing every part of it. Then people who are reading your invite in their inbox are not going to believe what you're saying, or they're not going to believe that you add value, because there are a million companies, and obviously we are the superior company, but people see people talking about the pink drink and Thrive and all the millions of things that I don't even know about. When people are like, oh, what's the difference between this and this? I'm like, I have no idea. I don't care. I don't look up other products. I just don't care. So I don't have time to look up your product when I'm trying to learn everything I can about my own. So I'm going to share my screen and just talk to you about the behind the scenes inviting, because I'll do it in a second. I have to use my hands a little bit more. So I hope, because we just did 3 full, so this is like the middle point, right? This is like the exact center of the 6 weeks challenge. So you've been in this group for 3 weeks, and I know that some of you are like, I'm just inviting and I don't know what I'm doing. But I hope that you're truly inviting, because you cannot grow a business without inviting. And I think I've said that like 55 times. You're probably like, girl, stop saying that line. But you cannot grow this business without inviting. And it's okay if you send one and it's awkward, or you're uncomfortable when you're doing it, because it's all uncomfortable. Even if I stop for 4 days in a row and I go to send an invite again, it's super uncomfortable because you get out of practice and then you get way in your head about it. But ultimately, you just need to get it out somehow. I would like you, blah, 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 I would like you in a challenge group with me, or I'd like you in an accountability. I want you to try Lift 4 with me. I think this would be a good fit. You're a rockin' mom. I'm a rockin' mom. You want to sweat virtually together? Like, just get it out, because then you're going to see what works and what doesn't work. So I'm going to show you what works for me. I agree with what Marley said, is that she, this is new. 2017, if you were a coach in 2017, and I talk about this also all the time, it was rough because BOD came out and it was like we weren't selling anything, where before it was like you had to sell a new program that came out. Now everybody just had everything. So they fixed that this year. They fixed it because they had 80-day obsession, and then they had To Be Mindset and Mes de Mas and Lift 4 and all these amazing programs that allow you to invite and not just sell BOD, but also get that extra commission and extra volume points off of the launch again, and the hype of the launch, right? I have not been doing that this year because I'm freaking pregnant. And so, but I see that that's working for other people. So if you go to my page and you're like, well, she's not practicing what she preaches, please know that starting when this baby comes out, I will be doing that as well. A themed, hey, I'm inviting to this. Because what happens is, and I will tell you firsthand, is that you get an accountability group going where it's more of a community. It's people doing a bunch of different things. It's people doing, awesome things. They're making the lifestyle changes, but they're not coming out with amazing transformations, which then come out with people who are like bleeding Beachbody blue. They're like, yeah, this is working for me. This is great. But think about when I started and I did 21 Day Fix and everybody did 21 Day Fix and we all got amazing results, and I came out a coach ready to freaking rock it because we were all so focused and we all did it. Does that make sense? And so what I'm going to show you, because I have scripts for you guys, it is a generic script. So think about it, because that's what I've been doing. Unfortunately, I have literally been bouncing programs because that's that's my journey right now, you know, and it is what it is, and that's fine. And I've made Success Club, and that's okay. But it is better if you leverage, even if you're like, I don't want to do Lift 4, and you just want to leverage your own 80-day obsession, just do that. You know, make your own thing, where I am like, okay, well, I can do 2 of the workouts from 21 Day Fix and 2 of the workout from T25, and I'm jumping around right now. So just don't use me as a complete example, but I did want to show you my scripts because it is working. It's just not coming out with the most amazing challenge group transformations that therefore lead into coaches. So does that make sense? I hope that you can see the difference. I'm still technically winning, you know, small goals, but not what I want. I want people coming up leading Lift 4. Like I want them, and that's what's happening for the girls who are doing Lift 4 right now in my group. They're like, oh my God, this is amazing. Carter is mimicking me in the back. I don't know if you can hear me. Hear him? Yeah, they can hear him. He does that when I do that voice. Okay, so here, and I posted this, I did a training for my team, and I posted the YouTube video in the group. I need to like move this so I can see what's on the slide. Okay, so basically, you know, we talked about the funnel last week, so I'm really not going to go into it. However, I just wanted to show you that there is a process to this. So there's a funnel. So, you know, you're embedding your invites in these posts. I would pay attention to who is liking that, who's watching your stories, who's doing that. But ultimately, follow your babes. Start a conversation, build a relationship, and whatever that relationship looks like, guys. Instagram stories is amazing. You can just comment on people's Insta stories, and that's building a relationship because they're watching yours, you're watching, or they're watching you, you're watching them, and then ultimately you're going to invite them, and then you're going to follow up with them. Very few times are people like, yes, please sell me that Lift 4 challenge track right now. I can't wait, after like one conversation. So you're going to follow up. So it's just easier to get the invite over with, because then later when you're doing that soft inviting in your post, you're embedding it that they're like, okay, I'm ready, because they weren't ready. So however you want to build that relationship, I don't cold invite. So we have some form of communication before I invite. But when I get to the invite, I say, again, this is what I say, but you can fill in Lift 4. So I say, hey girl, I run these virtual health and fitness accountability groups, and I wanted to shoot you an invite to my next one. I'm not sure if it's even your thing, but if it could be, I would so love to have another blank, and that's whatever we connected with. So another mom, another teacher, whatever. Let me know if it could be your thing. Now this works for me because this is exactly how I would talk. But you're gonna have to tweak that to make it sound like you. But I could easily say, hey girl, I run these virtual health and fitness accountability groups, and I'm starting another one that we're working out 4 days a week. You get a cheat meal, and I think you would be perfect for it because blank. Same thing, just tweak it. Like, don't make it more complicated than it is. In an Instagram, you can save your script for a couple days. And I'm not saying save that script and just shoot it out to people. What I do is I have the first 2 sentences of it saved because I'm working on very limited time. And then I fill in the rest. So I always personalize my message, like where that blank is, I always write that in myself. But if you're saying the first 2 sentences to everything, if you're a business account on Instagram, you can save that. Just to save yourself a couple seconds of time. It really does add up, especially if you're using Brigida's like timer tip. You know, you want to just bust out those invites. So when I sit down to do my invites, I go into my Hey Girl messages or people that I've been in contact, I've been forming with. And I just go through the line and I just invite them, whoever is due for an invite, and then I move on to the next one. I don't wait for them to answer me because sometimes they don't answer you. And if you're waiting for your people to answer you, you would never get anywhere. So either they don't answer you at all, or they said something along the lines of they want more information. This is where I'm going to tell you to get the book Go Pro, where they talk about using third-party tools to help you sell your product. Because we are branding ourselves, we are not Beachbody billboards, so these programs work for us, or we're excited to try these programs because, but I didn't make Lift 4, I'm not married to it, so I'm not going to act or be offended if somebody doesn't want to do that one specific program, but I can recommend it, just like I would recommend a movie or a restaurant. And so what I say is, if they're like, well, I don't know, what's it all about or whatever. So I'll ask them, well, what are some of your goals? And we'll see if they'll match up. And then they answer me about whatever their goals are. And then eventually I say, would you like me to send you info about it? Now I'm trying to do this off the fly if I was doing Lift 4. So I'd be like, what do you struggle with nutrition? And then they would tell me. And then I'd be like, oh my God, well, this new program has a cheat day because I'm a carboholic too, or whatever. And you can use, and I have an actual conversation of how it went and how I talk about Shakeology, and I always embed Shakeology into the invite. So whatever they say they struggle with nutrition, I'm like, have you heard of Shakeology? The biggest thing that has helped me with blank, whatever they say, so cravings, well, for me, it's digestive stuff always. So I always talk about poop. But, cravings or sugaraholic, or I don't eat enough, or I'm too busy, I always plug in Shakeology. And then I say, and I always ask, hey, can I send you this 3-minute long video? They explain it way better than I could. But basically, this has been the biggest game changer for me. And then they almost always say yes, or they ghost you. If they ghost you, I have this message saved right here where it says if they ghost. Hey, babe, not sure if you got my last message, but I wanted you to know, zero pressure. I'd love to have you anytime. I run a group every single month. So the last message is not me asking them something and them not answering. It's me being like, hey, I'm breezy. I'm fine. I'm not super salesy and gross. I'm going to love you no matter what, is what this says. I mean, obviously not in those words, but it has that tone of like, girl, our relationship is not dead because you got anxiety about talking to me about something that you knew was going to lead to price and you didn't want to talk about it anymore, so you stopped talking. I'm going to say something. And almost always they answer with like, okay, I'm just really busy right now, or whatever, which therefore is the yin and the yang with what Marley was talking about, is that they're seeing you consistently talk about these things. Like, our stories are all not very different. So, when someone's like, well, I'm just so busy, like, girl, I'm about to have my 3rd baby and I live in a hotel. Like, I get busy. Like, I get it. So whatever your story is, whatever your busy is, because nobody is not busy. Like, this is what I have found in this business, is that it's not a competition. No one is not busy. It's just how we use our time. But you saying like, hey, B, use your time better is rude. So what you're doing is you're embedding it in your post, and you're saying, oh my gosh, I had to get up 30 minutes earlier today, which stunk because it was the first day of school and my kids were up all night because they were anxious. However, I just rocked parent drop off because I got my workout in and I had my mom grab something. I don't know. Like, make it fun, like a conversation, like you're talking to your very best friend in your post. And then they see your little message come up, like, hey, did you want me to send you that video about Shakeology? And then they're like, yeah, I think I do, because I can't get my butt out of bed, and you did. So they're not saying these things, but it all works together. So this is kind of my script for invite, which is not anything crazy, guys. Like, you have to just find the words that work for you. But no, I invite every single day. So I don't invite 2 weeks of coaching, 2 weeks to a challenge group. I invite every single day to an accountability group, which has worked for me because I've been doing this generic one. I'm going to have to pay attention to times a little bit more when I start doing like Lift 4 and all that stuff. However, I have had people buy challenge packs, but our conversation takes 3 weeks. And so until I need to add the pressure, I don't add the pressure. Just because it has worked for me not to do it until I have to. But if you send your first initial invite 2 weeks before a challenge group starts, and that's what, 1 week before they have to order because you want them to have their stuff in theory, right? It's not going to happen. Like you're not, and then you're going to get discouraged and you're going to start your accountability group and you're going to have nobody new and you're going to be pissed. So if you just get up every day and you send your invites first thing in the morning, like when I was doing 80-day obsession, literally Autumn Calabrese gets me pregnant, you guys. Okay, so I did 21 Day Fix and got pregnant with Carter. I did Hammer Kiss and got pregnant with Cammy. I started 80-day obsession. I got pregnant with this baby.
Because of the results.
Because my husband says it's because of the results. He thinks he's just funny. So, yeah. Well, we're getting separate beds, and Autumn is not allowed to actually come up with another program, so it's fine. But you're welcome, babe, for 3 kids under 4 years old. So, what happened was that you have to like have your pre-workout meal, right? I did a whole 3 weeks of this program until I was like, bleh. Yeah, Carter. So what I did is I would go downstairs and I had my pre-workout meal prepped and I would eat it, and then I'd run upstairs to my computer and I would send my invites first thing in the morning. And I did really good in January. I did. What, baby? You found it? Okay, mommy has to talk now, okay? So I did my invites first thing in the morning because that's what grows your business, right? Now, if you don't have any Hey Girls, like in regards to you don't have anybody in the funnel that's at that stage, some mornings you're going to have to bust out some Hey Girls. I get that. However, you need to, I think it is most important to invite every single day. Now, does that mean that some days I'm like, oh crap, I need to, do a bunch of follow-ups or I have to do a bunch of something else? Yes, of course. But ultimately, if you're trying to invite, so I would invite and then go have, my energize, and then I would start my workout. So I got that done first thing. And I literally felt on fire that first little bit until I was like, Brenna, I'm pretty sure I'm pregnant, but we're not going to acknowledge it for like another week because nobody's ready to deal with that. So get it done. Just get your invites out there. And remember that these are conversations. Like if you walk up to a friend and we're like, hey, do you want to go to Ruth's Chris, which is an expensive steakhouse, tomorrow? And they were like, well, I don't know, I have to think about it. And you were like, hello, let's go. Like, no, it's a conversation. Like, hey, next Tuesday, do you want to like go to this expensive, like it's still 160, 180, 100, whatever dollars that people are dropping. So you can't rush the conversation or people will shut down and then you'll get more ghosts. So invite every single day. Now, invite to coaching and invite to your accountability groups. I do on my social media, which we're going to talk about, I think next week or in 2 weeks. I talk about like what I embed my jab, and my right hooks is coaching for 2 weeks and count groups for 2 weeks. At this stage in my pregnancy, I'm talking mostly about coaching because I'm so big. I get contractions really early, and so I can't really work out. But talking about it and embedding it and inviting, it all comes together, the yin and the yang. And then I am all about getting through that first awkward invite and then getting them on the hook, and then they're so excited, but they have to save up or they have to, wait until, like, I had a bunch of teachers this summer say, like, I just need to wait until September when I'm back on a steady paycheck. Perfect. My follow-up list for September is so long. I'm so excited about it. But it's way easier to send the next one that's like, move it down. I don't know, my computer. Okay. Oh, that's like the, hey babe, I opened up my enrollment for my August accountability group, and they're going to see that because on your Instagram stories, you're going to do that little list that's like 1 to 10, my 10 spots for whatever. My Lift 4 group in September is opening up. They're seeing that because they're watching your Instagram stories, and then you're sending them a private invite that's like, hey babe, I just opened up my enrollment for my August accountability group. I wanted to see if you wanted to snag a spot. I wanted to offer it to you first. Make it exclusive. Make it like you're coming to them, even though in reality you're coming to 50 of them. But like you are spinning it how you need to spin it. And that's why Lift 4, Brigitte ran the group twice. Maybe she'll do it. I don't know if she's doing it 3 times, but whatever. You run this group multiple times because people watch you. They have to watch you and see if you're legit. So again, with the embedding of the the results and being proof that the products work. Now, inviting to coaching, I don't have a slide for that, so we're gonna stop sharing. Inviting to coaching, I am super casual about. So I think something that you can do that is inviting almost every day is either coming on your Instagram story and just being like super real and being like, hey, I'm gonna do this group in a couple, anyone be interested? Like, it just takes a slide or two. See if anybody comments. I have been really big into polls lately. Sorry, someone messaged me. So instead of just being like, hey, do you want to be in my accountability group or you don't want to be in my account, like yes or no, I'll say, what do you struggle with the most, nutrition or workouts? Now, those people are answering just a question, but I have a whole list of people that I can target who are watching my stories and who are openly saying they struggle with something. You know, what's the other one I say? Like, is it time or money that's holds you back from starting a fitness? You know, either one. I'm gonna message all of you. It doesn't matter. But like, it's a question where you want both of the answers. And if you do that a couple times a week, you can see who's not only just watching your stories, but who's really paying attention to what you're talking about. And then for coaching, I'm really struggling with my polls, but like I came up with some things and I was like, you know, does a challenge, or Brenda actually came up with this one, does a challenge excite you or scare you? And then one I came up with was like, at the end of the month, are you lacking time or money? And so just people who are, again, openly saying that they are struggling with something. And then I'm jabbing, right? I'm saying, oh, look, I got up before my kids and I did my power hour. And then, oh, look, I got paid. It's Thursday. I'm going to do whatever. So it's all coming together. But Instagram stories allows you to be so real and quick that it's not a big deal. So don't think about the perfect wording. Just put something out there. And then you'll have those big call to action posts at certain times or whatever. But I take those lists and then I do post sneak peeks. And when I invite to the sneak peeks, I will either invite people who have been in my challenge groups, who comment on polls or posts that I've done specifically about coaching, or just people that I think would really, really rock it. And I literally say, like, hey girl, have you ever thought of, hey girl, this is kind of random, but have you ever thought about coaching like I do? That's kind of how I open it. And then I'll feed in something personal, like, you know, you rocked the last challenge group, or you're a mom like me and I just know that it has given me this. Something like that. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. So I know as a new coach, and even now when I struggle, I get on these calls and I'm like, okay, these people are going to tell me exactly what to say, and then I'm going to say it, and I'm going to sign up like a bunch of coaches, and this is going to be great. But it's really effing frustrating that nobody has told us that yet. I mean, aren't these top coaches so rude? But there is no perfect script. It is just what you have to say to make it sound like you and to be doing it consistently. You're gonna word vomit a couple times and you're not gonna find your like perfect wording in your flow until you find your perfect word in your flow. But until you start sending them, you're never gonna know. So I just watched a call from the Beachbody Champions page, and she was like, you just need to talk to 3 new people about coaching every single day. And she said something similar. It was not what I say, but it was just very casual, like, I forget what she said, but just like, hey, you know, I do this. Do you want to do this? And like, you have to talk about it consistently. So you get, I think somebody posted in the group and it was so brilliant that she had this aha. She posted about workouts all the time, and so she was selling BOD like crazy, but she wasn't talking about Shakeology, so she was getting all these objections. It's the same thing if you are rocking and you're filling up your accountability groups, but your team is not growing. You have to talk about coaching. You have to invite to the opportunity. Lean on your upline. And I know Brigida doesn't really run like sneak peeks or webinars, but she has them that you could use. I run them for my team. Like, team up with somebody, you know. Sometimes you just got to make your own destiny and you just got to figure it out. In the first webinar I did, I'm pretty sure I threw up after and I was like, this was awful, but you just have to go through it. So invite to both, embed in both, and then make sure that you're inviting behind the scenes as well, because, and I'm sure Brenda's going to talk about this, it's like the least amount of traction that I get is when I do like the very obvious, hey, do you want to be in my accountability group? It's like all the people who are like loving on my posts constantly are like on vacation that moment. So no, it's because people don't want to commit to anything, but it's super important that you do them. On that note, Brenna's going to talk to you about call to action.
Can you guys hear me? I realized I was talking and I was still muted, so that was good. Okay, so I know this is a lot of information coming at you guys, and inviting is one of those things that for me was extremely overwhelming and stressful, because I always felt like everyone was saying like, okay, you need to invite. Thanks, cool, I get that. I obviously need to invite. What does that even look like? What does that sound like? Who am I inviting? Like, why am I inviting them? How do I do that? So Sam gave some really great examples, but the biggest thing I want to talk to you guys about is, so when you're doing the vital behaviors, you're showing up on your social media, you're doing what Marley's talking about, you're embedding it in your posts, you're just sharing obvious objections and how you've overcome them. And then you're doing what Sam's talking about, where you're, you know, asking questions on your stories, you're getting people to interact with you, you're sending them little, you know, very casual invites behind the scenes. My invites, guys, are very basic these days. They're like, hey, do you want to work on your mental and your physical? Cool, let's do it together. Like, not those exact words, but that's basically what I end up saying, because when you go into it with all of these, you know, oh my God, I'm going to change your life. Oh my God, you know, it sounds like too much. It sounds like it's too good to be true. And the reality is, what we do have to offer people is a gift. And in some ways, it is too good to be true. Like, it is crazy that you can drink a shake and follow a meal plan and work out for 30 minutes and get these insane results. But when you're inviting somebody, you want to be real. You want to be, you know, doing all of these things over time. And then what I'm going to talk to you guys about is what Sam was kind of talking about at the end, is this blunt invite. Because the reality is, if we're doing subtle invites all the time, guys, look at how amazing I am. I just drank my shake today and it was so delicious and it helped me have all this energy. And they're like, cool, dude. So glad you had your shake. Like, oh, I did my workout today and it was awesome. And look at my amazing results. Cool, thanks, you know. And you're kind of putting in these subtle, hey, you know, you could join me. But in reality, they're kind of like, join you for what? You know, and that's great, because as curiosity marketing, you want them to be asking, what is she doing? What is she doing? But then there comes a point in time where you have to put it all out there. You have to be like, okay, guys, I am running this thing and I want you to be a part of it. And if you're doing all of the other things, you're embedding in your posts, you're inviting behind the scenes, when you go and put this big post out there, this is usually the post that I think most people get scared of. It's my favorite. Even though initially I got zero traction on them, it's my favorite because it's like that post where people who are behind the scenes maybe have been watching you but are ghosting you, where they get the balls to finally be like, okay, I'm ready. So I'm going to show you guys some examples of how some top coaches do it, how I do it, whatever that means, and give you guys some ideas on how you can put it out there in a way that makes people kind of eager to want to talk to you and maybe just respond to you. Maybe just stop ghosting you, or maybe when you reach out to them the 5th time that week, they'll be like, okay, I saw that. Okay, it was, you know, okay, it's that boot camp thing she keeps talking about. She told me she only has 5 spots left. I need to respond to her this time, whatever it is. So we call this, I guess, as I don't know who we is, but when I was trained, we called it a call to action post. But basically, this is a post where you're asking other people to take action finally. You're not telling them about your journey. Can you guys still see me okay? I hope so. You're not talking to them about your journey. You're not sharing with them things that are like, oh, this is so cool. This is how it's helped me. You're flat out saying, this is what I want. Do you guys want to help me? And maybe putting in some info on your past, who you were then before Beachbody and who you are now. So Melanie Mitro, top coach in the business, this is her version of a call to action in many ways. So obviously her call to action and my call to action are going to be a little bit different. One, because she has this huge network. She has a huge reputation. And so when she's inviting someone, she can say, go visit my bio, go visit my link, you know, and a lot more people are going to jump at that. Where mine, you're going to see, is way more direct. It's going to be talking about a specific program. So one of the big things I want you guys to see is that she's using a transformation picture right here. And the main reason for that is because you see such an obvious distinction when you're going through that scroll. You want them to stop. You want them to see your face, to be like, oh, dang, who is this person? And you want them to want to read what you have to say. So if you're putting it out there, if you're doing a call to action, make sure that your pictures are going to be eye-catching. And not even eye-catching like you have good lighting. Like eye-catching like OMG. That's what you want them to say. So with her, you can see the obvious transformation, not only in her body, but just even in her posture, in her smile, and how she looks. And then she talks about who she was before Beachbody. You know, she felt really insecure. She wore Spanx all the time. She cried on a regular basis. Like all of those, like Marley was saying, telling that story of where she was before. And honestly, how she was feeling, to really relate to somebody who's maybe in their before Beachbody stage of life. Then she's talking about the person she is now, the journey she went through, how she got here, and kind of answering that objection right away. Remember, you're never too busy, you're never too tired, you're never too out of shape to change your life. Putting it out there and saying, now you need to reach out to me, visit my bio, and you need to contact me, which is what the last sentence says. It kind of cut off. Holly Hillier, also an awesome one. She's, again, transformation picture. You see a huge distinction, talking about her body on the left when she was in her 20s, before she had a baby, lean cuisines, all of that stuff. Now talking about the person she is, you know, now that she had a baby, she's stronger, she's happier. And then talking about, this is what she's basically saying. So what did I do that changed? But also, this is the information she's giving them about what I'm going to give to you. This is how I did it, and this is how you're going to do it. I work out 30 minutes a day. I eat clean. I drink my superfoods. I have support. This is basically what her accountability group is. And she's saying, my next virtual fit club starts on Monday. Want in, fill out the application. She's directly saying, you need to take action right now. Fill out this application so you can do these things that I have listed above. So this is something that I kind of stole and tweaked from another top coach. But basically the biggest thing is she's talking about, myself. What I'm talking about is I'm talking about something that was maybe a struggle, that you have to work hard, that it's not going to be easy, and setting people up to where they understand that this didn't happen from a wrap. This didn't happen from a pill. This didn't happen overnight. This was hard work. But these are the things that I did. And anyone who wants to be in my next group should expect to and want to lose weight, build muscle, have step-by-step nutrition. And of course, I have to put in there, wants to invest in something that's real, that actually works. And then I tell them, because I don't have the swipe up option, I don't have like this in-demand email address, that they need to reserve a spot by putting an emoji below or DMing me. The biggest thing that I want you guys to think of is, you want to think of, how are you going to make them push the button and send a message to you or comment below. You never want to just leave it as a question mark, like, why don't you join me? You want to tell them this is the next step and that they need to reach out to you in that very moment. And if you're doing all the things behind the scenes, then all of this is like that final hoorah where they get to see an awesome transformation, or they get to see how you're going to help them do it now, because you've been showing them how you're doing it, how you're working it into your life. Now, how are you doing it and helping your community do it and get results? Okay, so now call to action for coaching. So I'm going to be super real with you guys. Call to actions for coaching are something that I've just started working into my life, because it, for me, is something that I told you guys on day one is harder for me to do. And the main reason for that is because wording for me of how to invite someone to coaching is also like how to invite for an invite. You want to keep it super casual, but you also want to explain to them how coaching works. What's the expectation? Because most people think, you know, they see you, you're showing up, you're taking these awesome pictures, or they see you, you know, running an at-home business, and they think, oh, I can't do this. I don't know social media. I don't have the time to do this. You know, I don't have the skill, whatever it may be. So you want to make sure that you're kind of taking away those objections about coaching in your call to action, but also giving them like that push to reach out to you or to comment below. So Holly Hillier does a great job really talking about her big dreams, her big goals, and kind of why and why she started this journey. And then talking about, you need to put out there, what are you looking for? Who is your niche market? Who is that person you're talking to in all those posts all week long? Who is that? And put that into words. So I love that she says, I'm looking for motivated, driven, and passionate mamas, because that is her niche. And every time you watch a training from her, she will tell you she's talking to moms of, you know, young kids who are ready to be at home with their children. And that's who she posts for. And then what she says is she cuts out those, you know, or negates those objections about being a social media expert, about being at their goal weight, about having special degrees or certifications. She says you don't need any of that and makes that very clear. This is all you have to have. And then makes them take action by leave your email below or message her separately. So again, asking them to take action, asking for them to put themselves out there and reach out to you. And then this is another one that I just love. This is more of a way to invite to a coaching sneak peek versus just a coaching call to action. So similar idea, talking about her dreams, how she's done the things to make it a reality. Also a picture that catches you where you're like, is she in a bikini looking at a laptop? Like, so random. And yet you want to know why that is happening. You want to know. So today she's really talking about, you know, working her business into her life. And if you want to know how, you can just jump in on this Coach Sneak Peek. She, in her trainings about sneak peeks, does them every single week. It is something that she's incorporated regularly. Like Sam, after my first webinar Coach Sneak Peek, I think I cried. It was like so emotional and so scary, but I'm so glad that I did it because it opened the doors to people really understanding that I'm here and this is a business and I'm going to show up for it. And also, even the people who, you know, were people who I invited, who I just like love their page. They're already doing this health and fitness thing, who I wanted to be, they're like on my, you know, coach crush list. Even those who didn't sign up right away, they have now started watching me and started seeing what I'm doing and paying attention. So that way, when I do reach out to them again in the future and say, okay, girl, are you ready? They're going to have already seen me doing all the steps and that I'm here to stay. I'm not just like a, you know, oh, I'm here for 2 weeks and then I'm piecing out. I'm here. I'm going to build a business. Are you ready to get going on this train? Sorry. Okay, so the couple tips that I can give you is that no call to action is perfect. You can make it your own, and depending on what you're doing a call to action for. So my call to action when I'm doing it for the Lift 4 program, you know, in my description is going to say, if you're a busy mom who doesn't have time for you, then you're going to have 4 workouts a week. You're going to have a cheat meal in your meal plan. You're going to have superfood shakes. You're going to have, you know, kid-friendly recipes, whatever it is, whatever I'm offering them. Who's ready to join me? Comment below. If my call to action for coaching is going to be completely different. But, you know, I like to believe that at least once a week, you need to be putting a call to action out there. And even if you get no traction on it, it is putting it out there that you are here, you are ready for people who are ready to move. I've had people who have liked my call to actions for weeks before they ever commented with an emoji below. But every week they're seeing my call to action come on their page and see, oh, there's Brenna again. Oh, she's still doing it. And that's what you want. You want them to recognize your face and put together, oh, she does that at-home business thing. Oh, she's that girl who lost all that weight after she had her baby. After I have my baby, I'm going to reach out to her because I know she runs these like boot camp things. My second thing, put out there what you want. If you're looking for, you know, we talk about our niche markets a lot, I think, in this business, who we're talking to in our posts, who we're looking to attract, who's our tribe, who's the people who you'd want to go to Summit with or a Success Club trip with. Don't be afraid to put that in your post, that you want somebody who is going to work hard, or you want somebody who's not afraid to turn off Netflix and get up early, or someone who is willing to put, you know, 30 minutes a day towards their health and fitness, because those are all things that you need to be successful. So if you're not putting that out there, then the people who don't realize that that's part of it are just going to start and stop because they're like, whoa, 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 I didn't realize I had to work hard. I thought I could just make money, just show up and be myself, and it would just fall in my lap. And anyone who is here knows that that's not the case. So be real, put it out there, and then you will attract the people who are driven and who love that and who thrive on that. Another big piece is consistency is key. That doesn't mean putting the same call to action up every single week. It just means consistency all the way through. So if during the week you're not, you know, sharing victories, if you're not taking objections and kind of, you know, putting them on their head and doing all of those things, inviting behind the scenes. Then when you do a call to action, it just seems very like, okay. But if you're doing all of those things behind the scenes, you're putting all of that on your social media. When you do a call to action, that's like okay, guys, you've been seeing all of this awesome stuff I've been doing, and now I'm here to invite you to join me. And that's the best part, is that all of your hard work comes up to this moment where then people are like, oh, I can be a part of this too. Like, I can just comment below and she's going to send me all the details and she's going to hook me up with this awesome program that's 4 days a week or whatever. So being really consistent on your social media, period, but also with your call to action. If you're just putting what you're doing out there, people will be like, cool, good for you. You want them to know that they can always join you. And when you're embedding that in your post, like, hey, you know, you can do these 30-minute workouts. You can have this shake. And here at the end of the week, I'm going to tell you how to do it. And then always make sure you end the post with a way for them to take action. Never end it with a question. End it with this is what you need to do to be a part of this boot camp. You need to comment below. You need to send me a message, whatever it is that you're going to want them to do to be successful moving forward. And then the last part, guys, is I hope that throughout your business you take this and you run with it and you make it your own, because there are 400,000 Beachbody coaches, and we can sit up here and tell you, if you just send this invite, you'll be great. If you just do this, you'll be great. And the reality is, we are all, Marley, Sam, and I always joke about this, we're like all so different and yet equally successful in the ways that we do things. So there's no right and wrong way to invite. The biggest thing is to invite, period, point blank. Please invite people. Make sure that you're inviting on the forefront of your social media. You're inviting in your stories. You're inviting on your call to actions. You're taking massive action. Like Eric Ware was saying, take massive action on all 4 fronts, and that'll make people very aware of where you are, what you're able to provide them, and how you're going to help change their life and what gift you have to offer. Because if no one knows what you're offering, then they really can't join you, and believe me, they won't. And if you're inconsistent, then people will think that you're just kind of a pop-up random person who falls off. And unfortunately, none of you who are here are that way. You're looking at this like a coaching commitment. So I hope that when you're sharing, you also share that way. Like, I'm here, I'm always going to be here. So in a month when you're ready, or 2 months when you're ready, I'm still going to be here, and you can still comment below and be good to go. So I see there's stuff in the chat. I'm sure that probably got answered, right? Oh, yes, of course. I can totally post a slideshow as well. So I think that's it for me. What did anyone else? Was there any other questions or anything else? I know it's super late, especially on the East Coast, and I don't want to take up anyone's extra time. Anyone else questions? If not, we'll let you guys go and either invite or go to sleep, or both, you know, whatever. No? Sam and Marley, are you guys good? Okay. All right, guys. Well, we heard you all. If you have questions, please feel free to comment in the group as you're doing stuff. But otherwise, we will definitely share. I'll share this recording in general once it's, oh, go ahead, Marley. It's not letting me. Oh, I have to stop sharing. Hold on.
Oh, so there's been a change in schedule. Thursday, Brigitta's going to do an awesome live training. So she's going to China, so we had to move dates that she's doing it on. Thank you, Sam, for handling all of that. And no, I'm glad that she's getting to do it. No, awesome. So just FYI, pencil that in, that Brigitta will be Thursday. So make sure you can get on live and show her some love. Okay, that's all.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, guys, and I hope you have a great night, and we look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow.
Okay, bye.